We have had plenty of exciting weeks at the LakePoint Sports Baseball Village, MLB draft picks, college stars, big time games. I don't know that we have ever had a week that delivered quite like the one that we just had, led by the National High School Select. That gives us plenty to get into as we take three cuts. I'm Cory McCartney along with PBR Georgia's Phil Kerber. Phil, welcome back in.
Thanks for having me, Cory. I'm excited to break down this past weekend. I mean, it was electric.
Yeah, as we take our first cut, Phil, you texted me about this last week. I mean, the bar has been set for everything that is yet to come this year on campus. Brother Rice against IMG. I mean, this was simply everything.
Yeah, I'm ready to name it the game of the year already. 2022 at Lake Point. I mean, it's better. It was better than anything I think I've seen at the facility in my few years here. You have the juggernaut IMG that is just a loaded roster. Basically, everybody SEC, ACC commits. You got draft picks on there, and then Brother Rice. The boys from the South Side Chicago, the talented team, and then they just went at it. I mean, that's the best way to put it. Is that you had Cole Van Assen on the mound for Brother Rice. You had Jackson Ferris on the mound for IMG. Ferris 93, 95. And credit to Brother Rice, they just went at it. They were not at all intimidated by that. And it was just very impressive. And honestly, Brother Rice, if they hadn't committed a couple errors, they probably would have won that game a little more comfortably than they did. But it led to one of the best moments. Jack Lausch walk-off homer in the ninth inning, a 7-5 victory for Brother Rice. Just it checked all the boxes for drama, just the talent on the field. Everything was there. It was awesome to be able to witness that.
Yeah, Brother Rice ends up going undefeated the whole way too. And Zion Rose, the Louisville committed catcher, told me that was the best game that he'd ever been a part of. Well, that was the game of the week, and we've got you on record saying that that's already the game of the year. I mean, there was some players made some big time statements, including one that could end up being one of the top players picked in this summer's MLB draft.
Yes, we'll start out with him, Elijah Green, outfielder from IMG. I don't know what I can say about him that I'm not going to say anything new. I mean, this kid's been covered since he was a freshman. Just, it looks like he was built in a lab, 6'4", broad shoulders, super athletic. And then he gets up to the plate and he just bangs the ball around the park. I mean, just everywhere. His first AB against Brother Rice, Oppo homer. Fouls it up later in the game with another Oppo double. I thought it was really interesting the way he just was okay going opposite field. He wasn't trying to get that huge power pull swing in. He was like, all right, I'll flick it to right field, out of the park. Yeah, imagine that. I think he had 3 home runs in 4 games. He loves Lake Point. I think last week you were talking about how he had 4 home runs at the area code games a couple of years ago at Lake Point. And he just bangs the ball around the park. Super athlete, just a lot of fun to watch. And then 2 guys from Brother Rice. We'll start out with Jack Lausch, who's the hero against IMG. Left-handed hitter, which is really, really impressive all weekend long. Competitive at bats, drives the ball, and he's a leader. You can tell the way he carries himself. And part of that could be he's a football recruit as well, going to Northwestern, quarterback. Those guys are typically your natural leaders, and he fits that bill. And I think this weekend might propel him a little bit when he gets back to Illinois, have some more eyes on him for that upcoming MLB draft. And then Zion Rose, who it'll later be unveiled today, hands down the MVP of the NHHS. The stat line is ridiculous. 13 for 17 in 4 games against the quality opponents that he faced. That was mind-blowing when I saw that stat. I mean, just crazy. And without Rose, Lausch probably wouldn't have been in some of the situations he was in to put Brother Rice ahead and win them the game. Rose was that leadoff hitter hitting in front of Lausch, and he set the table. He was the tone setter. He getting on base all the time and giving Lausch the opportunity to drive him in. So Rose, just incredible weekend. He's going to be a guy that I know the guys up north are going to be having fun watching him.
Well, I mean, it was just a ridiculous weekend. Moving on to your updated Georgia classification rankings, some major movement in 7A where Etowah basically watched the world change around them.
Yeah, it was a busy week for 7A. Etowah stays at number 1. Cherokee moving up to number 2, their highest ranking this year. East Coweta up to number 4, also their highest ranking this year. Lowndes jumping back in at number 5. They're 12-4 on a nice little wing streak. North Cobb debuted last week. They had a mixed bag this past week, and they fall to number 6. And then 7, 8, 9, the Denmark, Lambert, South Forsyth, all in the same region. You throw in North Forsyth there, West Forsyth. Those guys are just beating up on each other right now. So they're going to drop in the rankings a little bit, but I imagine come playoff time, those guys are going to be more ready than some of these other regions because they're playing some top competition every time. That's going to be a fun one to watch.
Well, certainly everything's still fluid in those rankings. It's like we get some major changes each and every week. We went deep into the National High School Select, and if anyone wants to go back and watch it, they can with LakePoint Live, powered by PlaySite. If you go to LakePointSports.com, you can find out more information. Also, keep making this plug. If you're not already, follow Phil on Twitter at Phil Kerber PBR and give PBR Georgia a follow while you're at it. Phil, thanks as always, and we'll see you on the diamond.
Thanks for having me.